Let me ask you something. Is that one person in your life really that difficult? Or are they just difficult for you? There's a difference, and it starts with a mirror. See, one of the most common questions I get as a coach is, how do I deal with that one difficult person in my life? Your ex, that client, your sister, a colleague, the boss. Someone who just knows how to press all your buttons. And look, I get it. There are people who are objectively hard to work with. People who cross lines. People who manipulate. People who drain the energy from a room. But most of the time, that's not who we're talking about. Most of the time, the difficult person is just someone who triggers something in you. And that's where it gets interesting. Because before you try to fix them, try this instead. Look at how much harder you're making it inside your own head. Let me explain. I once coached a woman who couldn't stand her sister. Every time they spoke, it ended in frustration. She'd say things like, "She always has emotional outbursts. She's so manipulative. She never respects my boundaries." Sound familiar? Now here's what we did. We zoomed out. We looked not at her sister, but at how she was interpreting her sister. The words emotional outburst, that's not neutral. That's a label, a judgment. What if we changed that? What if we reframed it as, she struggles to find the right words and sometimes it comes out messy. Different energy, right? Same behavior. Different meaning. Different outcome. Because most of the time, it's not their behavior that's exhausting you. It's your story about it. That's the power of self-reflection. Now let me break this down. There are 3 steps you can use every time you're triggered. Step 1. Observe without filters. Not, he always needs to be right. Try. He expresses his opinion often. Simple. Clean. Neutral. Step 2. Ask what it reveals about you. Are you annoyed because you also want to be heard? Are you frustrated because you feel dismissed? Often, the behavior that irritates us the most reflects something unresolved in ourselves. Step 3. Give their behavior a positive label. What if always interrupting became passionate contributor? What if emotional became deeply affected and brave enough to speak it? It's not denial. It's choosing a more generous interpretation. And when you do that, you create space for calm, for curiosity, for connection. Now, let's get real. Are there people who are genuinely toxic? Of course. Dictators, war criminals, people who hurt others for profit or pleasure. That's another level. But your sister, your colleague, your ex, they're not that. They're just human. And so are you. So next time you think, God, this person is so difficult, ask yourself, what part of me are they reflecting? What meaning am I adding? What story am I rehearsing? And maybe, just maybe, the hard part is actually the part that leads you to growth. Because the truth is this: most difficult people aren't difficult by nature. They become difficult in the meaning we assign to them. And when you change the meaning, you change the experience. So no, you can't change them. But you can change how you show up in the room. And sometimes, that's all it takes to change everything. And if you really want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes, just look at your relationship history. Want to know why couples fight so much? Why some people keep arguing long after the breakup? Here's the truth. It's not always about what happened. It's about the meaning we gave to what happened. You live with someone, day in, day out. You breathe the same space. You share routines, silences, leftovers, bed corners, moods. And somewhere along the way, you stop seeing the person and start seeing your version of them. He leaves his shoes in the hallway 10 times. You don't just think, he forgot. No, he becomes a slob. Uncaring, inconsiderate, lazy. She leaves a glass on the table after drinking milk. Because she had to run to the toilet? Nope. Not. She had to pee. But she's messy. Always has been. It's not the act. It's the label we attach. And once that label is stuck, we see it everywhere. Every glass, every shoe, every pause in the conversation. You create a character, a role, like in a movie. Except this movie only plays in your head. And your partner, your colleague, sister or friend, they never auditioned for the role, but now they're cast as the slob, the cold one, the controlling one, the always late one, the drama queen, the narcissist. You build your version of them with selective memories, old triggers, and mental voiceovers. And guess what? They're probably doing the same to you. You wouldn't believe the personas some of my exes have written about me. If you heard them, you'd unsubscribe from me right now, block me on every platform, and start a support group. But here's the thing. They're not lying. Not to themselves anyway. Because in their movie, that version of me is real. Just like your version of your ex is real. To you. But that doesn't make it the truth. It just makes it your meaning. And when two people are living in two completely different stories but sharing the same kitchen, yeah, conflict's not just likely, it's inevitable. Because you're no longer fighting about dishes. You're fighting about identity. About the version of yourself you're trying to protect. And the version of them you're convinced is true. So if you've ever asked, why do we keep fighting over such stupid things? Now you know. It's not about the glass, it's about the story. And sometimes, if you want peace, you don't need closure. You don't need another fight. You just need to retire the character you created in your head and let the real person go. Because love doesn't die in one moment. It fades in 1,000 assumptions. So maybe the real work isn't changing people. It's changing the way we see them. Maybe it's not about fixing the relationship, but about letting go of the version of them you created in your head. Because when you stop narrating their every move like it confirms your old storyline, you give them space to show up differently. And more importantly, you give yourself space to be less reactive, less defensive, and more present. That's where peace begins. Not in solving everything, but in softening your grip on the story that was never fully true to begin with. So next time you find yourself saying, why are they always like this? Try asking instead, what if they're not? Because sometimes the fastest way to stop fighting with someone else is to stop fighting with your own narrative.